we're going to have a look at comments, background colors, and tables. We're now going to add a comment. And you will remember that a comment is something that is there to remind yourself, but is not actually shown on the website itself. Earlier we made the button that says click me, and I'm now going to start a comment which is using the exclamation mark, and I'm then going to say remember to add the link to this button, and I'm going to close that. And you will also notice that this does not have a closing tag. To see what this looks like, I'm going to click on File, Save, and then I'm going to refresh this. And you'll notice that nothing has actually changed, because remember, a comment doesn't show up on our website. Let's now create a style with the background. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this heading 1, and I'm going to say style is equal to background color. Please make sure that you spelled color correctly without the U. I'm going to go with Dodger Blue, and I want it to say Computer Rock. I'm going to click on File, Save, and I'm now going to go to my website, and I'm going to press Refresh. Now, there's our heading 1 with a blue background that says Computers Rock. Let's do this again, but this time with a different color background and perhaps with heading 2. So I'm going to type in heading 2, the style this time is tomato, and I've written so does HTML. Let's save that once again. Let's go to our website and refresh it. And there now we have the background color, which is tomato, and the text that we've now written. Lastly, let's write some text with a border around it. I'm going to say that I would like it to be heading 1. I would like the border size to be 2 points. Now, the thicker you need the border, the bigger this number needs to be for your points. I've chosen a solid fill, and I'm going to write this is cool. So I'm going to click once on save. I'm going to refresh the website, and there it is, our border with 2 points around our text. Of course, at this stage you could change the font color, the fill, as well as the border color, but you can play around with that later on. We are now going to create a table, and I'm going to start off by showing you the table we're going to start with first. Now I'm going to show you the code that we need, and here is the code. So it starts off, and we need to define the table. So we need the table tag. Each table row is defined with the TR tag. A table header is defined by the TH tag, and by default this normally has bold and is normally centered as well. And then what we also have is we have the data cells, which are defined by the TD tags. So if I now look at this, here's our entire table. Each line, so this line will have first name in a cell, it will have last name in a cell, and age in a cell, and that will be the end of the first line. In the second line, we'll have Mickey underneath the word first name, Mouse under last name, and 50 under age. So let's go have a look again at our website, and here we can see first name, which is bold and centered, last name and age. So that was our first row, which remember is a table header, and it has the TH tag. Then we've got Mickey Mouse, who's 50. Now this table at the moment doesn't look like very much, so perhaps what we'd like to do is we'd like to add more information to this. I'm now going to set a style. So the first thing I need to do is I need to start my style, and like good practice, I'm going to end my style. I then need to say, what must this style affect, which is the table the heading as well as the different cells. And what do we want this to do? Well, we would like there to be a border, and the border that I would like to have needs to be 1 point, and for now I'm just going to make it solid black. I'm happy with that. I need a colon. I'm going to save this, go to my website and refresh it. And if I go back and look at the code, I notice that I have forgotten to put in my curly brackets. Let's save this and now press refresh, and we've now got a 1 point solid black border around everything. If we look at the borders, perhaps what we'd like to do is we'd like to collapse all of them and just have a single straight line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, and all I'm going to do in the table, in the style, I'm going to add that the border needs to collapse, and I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go back, refresh that, and now we just have a single line border around everything. Perhaps we'd also like to have a little bit more space between all of our different cells, and that's called padding. So I'm going to go back and underneath the table properties, and I'm now going to type in, just for the heading and the cells, not the entire table, I'd like to have a padding of 15 points. I'm going to save this, go back, and I'm going to refresh this page, and you can now see the padding of 15. Perhaps that's a little bit too big and you might want to make it slightly smaller, but that's up to you. If we have a look at the headings, you'll notice that they're all center aligned and they're bold because of the TH tag, which makes them a heading. But perhaps what we would like to do is we'd like to left align the headings. So what I'm going to do is right underneath, I'm going to use the word text align, which is left, and you'll notice that I've only used TH, which is for the headings. So let's save that quickly, go back, refresh, and you'll now notice that the headings have now moved to the left or are left aligned. The next thing I'd like to do is to create a little bit of spacing around each of the borders. I'm going to go back to Notepad, and I'm going to type in table, because this has to do with the table, not anything else. I'm going to change the border spacing to 10, and you'll notice that's border hyphen spacing to 10 points. We're going to have a little bit of a problem over here, because this won't work because the border collapse is currently on. So I'm going to delete that and now save that. And let's go back and refresh this, and you'll now notice that we now have a border spacing all the way around. If we would like to make a cell span more than one column, we've got to use the col span attribute. So for example, this one over here that says telephone, I'm going to start, and the rest of the code looks all exactly the same. The only difference is in the heading, you will notice over here it says col span is equal to 2. Of course, if we wanted that to span 3 columns, we would change that 2 to a number 3. Of course, if we would like the cell to span more than one row, we would use the row span attribute. So everything looks exactly the same except for over here where it says row span is equal to 2. Of course, if we wanted the cells to span 3 different rows, then we would change that number to a number 3. If we would like to add a caption or a heading for our different tables at the top over here, then what we can do is we can go directly underneath where table style is. So it has to be immediately after the table tag. And what we're going to do is we're going to write the word caption and close caption. And what do we want it to say? Well, for me, I just want it to say telephone numbers. I'm going to save that, refresh that, and now we have a caption for our table. Perhaps what we'd like to do is change the background color of our table. I'm going to go back, and still in the style, I'm going to say that I like to create a table with a background color, and there's the hexadecimal. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to go back and refresh this, and you'll now notice that our table has a different background color. If we have a look at the two tables, they're almost exactly the same. The only difference is one of them might have different attributes, and we can set different styles for special tables using the ID attribute. And the way that it works is it's exactly the same, and you will notice that as you're going along, everything looks pretty much the same except for over here. There it says table T01. So this is now the attribute table that I would like to have these attributes specifically for that table. And if I then scroll down, you will notice that once I get to that table, here's the first table, and here is the attributes that it needs to pull.